보석 액세서리 사업가.
Who am I here with today?
Kendra Scott.
What industry did you decide to pursue a career in?
So jewelry and accessories. Yeah, retail, wholesale. I'm omni-channel, baby. E-com, all of it.
Are you a business owner?
I am. I'm one of only 20 female founders in the United States that have founded a billion-dollar brand.
So you founded
Can you believe that?
a billion-dollar company.
A billion-dollar company with a B.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the secret to building a billion-dollar brand?
So my first collection I did with $500, and then I was able to write some orders. I had a decent amount of margin. I was able to reinvest in the business. Nobody would invest in me for 10 years. I went to multiple investors. Nobody would give me a dime. Even though I was selling to big department stores and other people, no one believed in retail. So I had to do it on a line of credit card debt. I put everything I owned up for collateral. I bootstrapped this baby all the way. But as we started to get success, and one of my mentors said, if you build it, they will come. Boy, was he right. When I started having lines around the block and people coming in, they were like, all these PE firms and venture capital firms were ringing my phone, and they're like, how do we get engaged and involved in this business? Keep your head down, build a profitable business. Not just a business that looks good top line. You gotta have EBITDA, baby.
Yes,
you gotta be making money.
Yeah.
And that is what everybody's looking for today. 10 years in, we were able to bring investors, and here we are continuing to grow.
So what was the best advice that you ever got from a mentor?
Look, we always talk about, people feeling like you gotta fake it till you make it, whatever it is. I totally disagree with that, but you can't be intimidated. Success is a mindset. My father always said, honey, don't be intimidated by the men in suits. I've walked into so many rooms and nobody in that room looked like me. And I had to have that confidence within myself to know I know what I'm talking about. I know that I can do this, and I'm not going to let anybody scare me today. Have that confidence, have that ability, because there's always going to be somebody that'll want to intimidate you. You got to walk in there and be like, watch out, here I come.
So as a billion-dollar business owner, you've been at the table with some heavy hitters, and you've had to negotiate and close some massive deals, I'm sure. What is your best negotiation advice for people that are in those rooms with those kind of people that may struggle with closing deals in today's world?
Look, I always say I'm a sponge. I want to hear what these folks have to say, and I try to really understand their perspective. But at the same time, I'm going to come back with that, and I've already done my research. I've done my homework, and I came in prepared. Don't go to any negotiation or any contract negotiation without doing your homework. Know exactly who is going to be sitting in that room. Know their backgrounds. Know other deals that they've done. Talk to other people that have done deals with them, and you're going to bring out things out of your hat, and they're going to go, whoa, how does she know that? How did she hear about that? I always am surprising them, and that is the art of negotiating, is you've got to be able to surprise your opponent with a little bit of a punch right when they least suspect it.
You got amazing advice. Thank you
Thank
so much for your time.
Thanks.
I really
Take
appreciate
care.
that.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
사모펀드 사업가.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Question for you. Have you ever been broke before?
I've been broke, never been poor.
Yeah. And what do you do for a living out here in Houston, Texas?
I'm in private equity.
You're in private equity.
Yeah.
Now, I go all over the country just asking successful people how they made it for the younger generation. Could I get just 1 minute of your time real quick?
Sure.
What was the most amount of money that you ever made in a single year?
In 2019, I sold 76 companies for $1.27 billion.
$1.27 billion.
Yeah.
And do you come from a lot of money?
No.
No. What was the number one book that changed your life?
Yeah, my number one book is Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
So good.
Number one takeaway from that book?
That everything that you want is on the other side of your ego. You got to get your ego out of the way. Use people to get to where you need to go.
Do you think everybody's built for entrepreneurship?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Because there's a hustle and a grind that's absolutely necessary that most people are not willing to put the effort into.
At what point as an entrepreneur is it time to diversify?
When you have a system and process that's replicatable. If you focus on the actual system, then it doesn't matter what you do. I run 86 companies at the same time, right? So everybody that tells you to focus on one thing, they just don't know how to have a process and system to do multiple. You could run 10 businesses yourself if you wanted to.
So you're in private equity, you're in the money business. What's the best industry people should be looking to get into in 2024?
Right now, AI and tech. I mean, AI and tech's everything.
Why is that?
Because it has the greatest opportunity for scale. Everyone knows they need it. They don't quite have it yet, and it's gonna take over so much of our computational processing in our businesses.
Who am I here with today?
Me?
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm Marcus Lemonis. You may know me from The Profit.
What industry did you decide to pursue a career in?
I wanted to go in an industry that had a lot of white space, where there was not a lot of competitors. So I got into the RV business, which was shocking to my family because they were like, you're not an RVer. But I got into it because I knew that the consolidation opportunity was really clear, and the ability to get into places that were unregulated made it really easy. So 20 years ago, it was zero, and today it's a $7 billion business.
What was the most amount of money that you ever made in a single year?
The most amount of money the company ever made was $980 million.
$900 million.
In profit.
In profit.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is pretty good, but that doesn't always happen. And I think the key to that is understanding that you're going to have good times and bad times. You got to find the middle and be comfortable with it.
How important was it for you to master delegation? A lot of entrepreneurs, they want to be that solopreneur and wear all the hats themselves. How important was it for you building teams and bringing the right people in?
Delegation's important, but what was more important to me was surrounding myself with people that were smarter than me and that had the willingness to say no to me and had the willingness to tell me when I was wrong and challenge me. And I think as people build teams, I oftentimes see a lot of business owners that want to build, hire people that are maybe not as smart as them. Instead, hire people that are wicked smart, that make you look stupid, because you're going to end up being the smartest person in the room for hiring them.
1 in 4 millionaires are living paycheck to paycheck. From your perspective, what keeps people broke in today's world?
Wanting to be flashier than they should, thinking that perception of what they look like is more important than who they are. And I think oftentimes what kind of car I drive and the house that I live in. What's Warren Buffett drive? Do you know?
Not a supercar, a Honda or...
He drives an old beater. He lives in the same house. You want to know why? Because he realizes that's not where the substance is. That doesn't mean that you can't have nice things, but there's a balance between being substantive and flashy. And I think too often people are too willing to do this. But I will tell you that every single person is one decision away from losing it all. But if you don't go up here and you stay here, if you lose it, it's not a big deal. You're like, I don't care, I'll just live in a studio apartment again. Sometimes people put material things around them because they think it makes them look better or stronger or more powerful. I don't believe it.
And your last message to the younger generation?
Have the confidence that you are just as smart as everybody else, and don't let age be a barrier to you getting a seat at the table. Too oftentimes, big executives think that if you're young, you don't know what you're doing, you don't have enough experience. Prove to them by having the right information, doing the right research, outworking them every single day, and never be entitled to anything. Tell people that you're willing to work for it. And if other people in the room are not willing to work, you push them aside and you show up first and you leave last.
You got amazing advice, sir.
Thank you, brother.
컨설팅 사업가.
Who am I here with today?
I'm Billy Ray Taylor, CEO of LinkedXL and author of the book, The Winning Link.
How old are you now?
I'm 57.
And if you were to go back in time and have a conversation with your 20-year-old self, when you were starting from zero, what's the best advice you would give to your younger self?
If a bird lands on the branch, does the bird trust the branch or does it trust its wings? And the clue, I've seen many birds land on branches, but what I've never seen is a branch break and the bird fall and die. Trust your wings.
Wow. How long have you been a business owner for?
5 years, I branched off and started my own company called LinkedXL.
What was the most amount of money that you've ever made in a single year?
Well over 7 figures.
7 figures.
Yeah.
Could you give me a range?
Between 1 and 3.
$1 and $3 million.
That's me personal.
What's the greatest lesson that you've learned about entrepreneurship that you'd pass on to someone about to start their first business in 2024?
Deliberate clarity. You can't manage a secret.
Who was the most important person that you met throughout your career?
My mom.
Was she a business owner? Or?
Of a house, but she taught me the most valuable lesson, and she said, start with a standard. What you accept, you can't change. So if you don't set the standard, the best coaches, the best leaders, right? Think of home plate in baseball, it's 17 inches. If you play Little League baseball, high school baseball, it's a standard. Coach don't widen the plate. You got to play to the standard. And then what you accept, you can't change.
What you accept, so in other words, you got to know your worth.
You got to know it. Know your value. You can't give freebies. When I tried to give people my consulting aid, when I gave them my software, no one took me up on it. When I said, well, you're losing how much? 10 million? It's going to cost you this. And they said, that's a lot of money. I said, no, that's an investment. My value is if you pay me this, 5,000, I'll make you 5 million. Now it's a deal. My value is a deal now. So you got to help people understand your value proposition.
반드시 기억하세요. 1. 성공은 마인드셋에서 시작하고 스킬셋으로 완성된다. 2. 양복 입은 사람들을 두려워하지 말고 내면의 확신을 가져라. 3. 성공에 필요한 절대적인 고통과 인내의 양이 있다는 걸 명심해라. 4. 내 주위를 나보다 똑똑한 사람으로 둘러싸아라. 5. 넌 그 누구 못지않게 똑똑하고 현명한 사람이다.